Hello and welcome along to our Financial Wellbeing Workshop, where today we're going to be talking about pensions and planning for your future. My name is Lisa Cope and I am a Financial Wellbeing Officer within Money Advice Scotland. A little bit about our workshops. Our sessions are part of a project which seeks to provide general information in different aspects of personal finance. We're not offering advice and are not regulated to do so, particularly for today's topic, which is pensions and is heavily regulated. Our goal is to help promote financial wellbeing within Scotland. If you feel you would like guidance on your pension matters, please contact a regulated professional to discuss further. Financial wellbeing means something slightly different for everyone, and that's okay. It's not our job to tell people what they should and shouldn't be doing with their money. There's no place for judgment when it comes to money. So what we're going to cover today are pensions and the different types available. We're going to have a look at the Lifetime Individual Savings Account, or LISA, where to go for help and support, and we're going to cover a little bit of estate planning and discuss wills and powers of attorney. So what is a pension? Put simply, a pension is a pot of cash that you can pay into, which you get tax relief on, as a way of saving up for your retirement. When you're retired, you can then draw money from your pension pot in the form of a lump sum, or exchange the cash with an insurance company for a regular income until death, and this is called an annuity. If you have more than one pension pot, you might want to have a lump sum with the added security of a monthly payment. Regardless of your age, it's always a good idea to save into a pension, particularly if your employer is also willing to contribute. Since 2015, from the age of 55, you've been able to access your pension plan more flexibly, taking as much or as little cash as you like, whenever you like. This is going to rise to the age of 57 from the 6th of April 2028, so bear this in mind when considering your pension planning. We can have different pension pots. We can have our state pension, a workplace pension, as well as private pensions, and we're going to discuss each of these as we work through the session. So first up, we're going to look at a workplace pension. A workplace pension is a retirement savings plan arranged by an employer where contributions are deducted directly from wages, often matched by employer contributions and boosted by government tax relief. In the UK, employers must automatically enrol eligible aged staff, so at age 22 to state pension age and earning over £10,000 per year. Those staff can opt out of this pension if they wish. In the past, it was up to workers to decide whether they wanted to join their employer's pension scheme and request to do so. However, since 2012, employers have been gradually required to automatically enrol their eligible workers into a workplace pension scheme. All employers will now be involved. As a result, lots more people are able to build up savings that they can use to provide them with an income from age 55 onwards, and again this is going to change to age 57 in early 2028. So what is the criteria? Whether you work full-time or part-time, your employer must enrol you in a workplace pension scheme as long as you meet these auto-enrolment rules. You work in the UK, you aren't already in a suitable workplace pension scheme, you're at least 22 years old but under state pension age, and you earn more than £10,000 per year. As long as you meet these conditions, you'll also be covered if you're on a short-term contract, so temporary or seasonal work, an agency pays your wages, or you're away on maternity, adoption or carers leave. If you earn less than £10,000 but above £6,240, your employer doesn't have to automatically enrol you into the scheme. However, you can still ask to join. Your employer can't refuse and must make contributions for you. It's up to you to decide if you want to remain in your pension scheme, but there are benefits to doing so, which include your employer's pension contributions, tax relief, any benefits your scheme might pay if you fall ill and are unable to continue working, and any benefits the scheme might pay to your dependents if you were to unfortunately die. There are two main types of workplace pension. Final salary schemes. This is also known as defined benefit schemes. This is when your pension is linked to your salary and will automatically increase with any salary increases you receive. You pay a percentage of your salary into your pension fund and your employer pays the rest. These types of pensions are becoming less common, but if your employer does offer one, it's worth considering. and a money purchase scheme. These are also known as defined contribution schemes. This is when the money that you and your employer pay into your pension is invested with the aim of giving you an amount of money when you retire. This means your pension is based on how much money you've put in and how well the investments have performed. So we're going to firstly look at a defined benefit scheme. So a defined benefit pension, also known as a final salary or career average scheme, these are workplace pensions and provide a secure, guaranteed income for life and retirement based on salary and service length rather than investment performance. Employer funded and usually inflation linked, they offer high security but limited flexibility. Some key points include employer responsibility, so the employer guarantees the benefits and takes the investment risk, ensuring enough money is available. Tax-free cash. Members can usually take up to 25% of their pension value as a tax-free lump sum. The access age. Most schemes have a normal pension age, often 60 or 65. You can often take it earlier from age 55, again rising to 57 in 2028, but your annual payments will be permanently reduced. Survivor benefits. Dependents often receive a portion of the pension upon the member's death. Security. Private sector defined benefit pensions are protected by the Pension Protection Fund if the employer were to go out of business. Limited flexibility and transfer rules, so harder to transfer than defined contribution schemes, and advice is legally required if the transfer value is over £30,000. These schemes are now rare in the private sector and they're more common for public sector workers. A defined contribution pension scheme is a tax-efficient, investment-based retirement plan where contributions from you and your employer build a pot rather than a guaranteed income. The final value depends on contribution levels, investment performance and fees. Key aspects include flexibility in taking benefits, for example drawdown or annuities, from age 55 plus. Now, we discussed automatic enrolment for eligible employees, and it will typically be a defined contribution scheme that employees would be rolled into. Employers are legally required to contribute, and many offer to increase their contributions if you increase yours, so contribution matching. In terms of investment and risks, the money in your pot is invested in funds, so for example stocks, shares and property, meaning its value can rise or fall. There's always risk with investment. And unlike defined benefit schemes, the investment risk lies with you, not the employer. The final amount is not guaranteed. If you do not choose your own investments, the provider will place your money in a default fund, which often uses lifestyling, so moving to lower risk investments as you approach retirement. In terms of tax benefits, contributions are highly tax efficient. Tax you would normally pay on income goes into your pension instead. And when you do retire, you can typically take up to 25% of your pot as a tax-free lump sum. The remaining 75% is taxed at your marginal rate of income tax. You can access your pension from age 55, again rising to 57 in 2028, and you have several options at retirement. A flexi access drawdown, so keep the money invested and take income as needed. An annuity, buying a guaranteed income for life. Or lump sums, take the whole pot or smaller chunks as needed. You can take your defined contribution pension with you if you change employers. And if you die before age 75, your remaining pension pot can usually be passed on to beneficiaries free of income tax. Generally, defined contribution pensions sit outside your estate for inheritance tax purposes. So how does a workplace pension work? The legal minimum which you and your employer has to pay into your workplace pension is set at 8% of your earnings. Your employer puts in a minimum of 3% and you make up the rest of the percentage to reach the minimum 8% level. You can of course pay more if you wish, this is just the minimum. The government also contributes to your pension through tax relief. Some of the money that would have gone to the government in tax gets put into your pension pot instead. So for example, you make a contribution as does your employer. Tax relief means that for every £80 you pay in, the state pays in £20 and it pays in more if you pay more tax, which is a big benefit of saving into a pension. If you don't pay income tax, you may still get an additional payment from the government depending on which type of pension you have. A private pension, known as a personal pension, is a product that you can use to save money for retirement. These are usually defined contribution pensions, which means the money you receive at retirement is based on the money you've paid in and the performance of your investments. You pay regular monthly amounts or a lump sum to a pension provider who then invests it on your behalf. There is risk involved, there's no guarantee that the investments will work out. There's always risk with investment. You pick the pension provider and make contributions into it yourself. You can have a private pension running alongside your workplace pension. As we mentioned before, you can have multiple private pensions in the UK, but managing multiple pots requires tracking different fees, rules and performance, often leading many to consolidate them. There are also the annual allowances to consider. While it's not mandatory to seek financial advice when starting or investing in a pension, it might be a good idea to speak with an expert to manage risk and get a clearer understanding of tax efficiencies, ultimately giving you the best chance of hitting your retirement goals. So how much should we pay into our pensions? This will vary for everyone, but the earlier you start paying into a pension, the better. Starting a pension early means your money is invested for longer and has more time to grow. And any returns your savings make is also reinvested and has a chance to grow too. Starting your pension later means you might need to pay more in to give you enough money for when you retire. You can check the Money Helper website, who will give a calculation based on the information that you supply, and the calculation will tell you a forecast of the likely pension income you'll get when you retire. Your forecast will include income from defined benefit and defined contribution pensions and your state pension. A target retirement income to aim for, taking into account your salary. Once you get your results, you can alter your retirement age to see how that affects your income. You can also see how increased contributions or taking a smaller tax-free lump sum will affect your yearly pension. The Times has a Money Mentor section and they have a magic formula for working out pension contributions, which we have on the screen. For further information, please see the Times Money Mentor website. It could be that during your working life you have a few different jobs, which means that you could have a few different pensions. Pensions can be difficult to keep track of as time goes on, particularly as pension providers change names, close and get sold. It's a good idea to check your current pension paperwork. This will provide you with important information regarding your pension scheme. If in doubt, you can contact your pension provider directly. You might also want to consider looking through your old pension paperwork for previous jobs. If you can't find information about your old pension, but remember who the provider was, contact them. Similarly, you can contact your old employer for more information. The government have a free pension tracing service which could help you locate any you don't have information on. And for further information on this, you can find that on the government website. When you retire, you need to decide what to do with the money you've saved into your pension in a workplace or personal pension. You can take up to 25% of the money as a tax-free lump sum, but there are pros and cons to doing this, and it can affect benefits. You will need to consider what to do with the money in your pension pots to provide you with an income through your retirement years. Annuities and drawdowns are two of the most common ways of taking regular income. You can use money from your pension fund to buy an annuity. A pension annuity is a product that pays you a regular guaranteed income for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live. One option is to convert the pension pot you've built up into regular income. You can do this by buying what's called a pension annuity, lifetime annuity, or simply an annuity with some or all of the money in your pension pot. With a pension annuity, you'll know exactly how much you're getting, come rain or shine. Once you've set up your annuity, you can't make any changes to it, so it's important to shop around and find the one offering the best annuity rate and product options for you. The other option is a drawdown. You can move some or all of your pension pot money into a drawdown. Putting your pension pot into drawdown means you leave your money invested for you to take out or draw it down as and when needed. The money left invested could grow to replace some or all of the money that you draw down, though its value could also drop as no investment is risk-free. Drawdown is much more flexible than an annuity. You can change how much and when you take money out of it, and how any money you don't take out is invested. But you could run out of money because, unlike with an annuity, your payments are not guaranteed. For more information and to compare annuities, Money Helper has a comparison tool. please visit their website. Moving on to the state pension. You must have 35 years worth of national insurance contributions to get full state pension, and you must have at least 10 years contributions to get any state pension. Your national insurance record is crucial when it comes to your state pension. You can check your national insurance record on the government website. If you have any gaps where you've not made your full national insurance contribution, you can buy back missing years, usually up to the last 6 years, to boost your eventual state pension payment. Now, you need to claim the state pension when you reach retirement age. It isn't paid automatically. You'll normally be issued with an invitation code to claim your state pension. However, if you haven't received the code and are within 3 months of reaching state pension age, you can request the code online. As of April 2026, the full rate for state pension will be £241.30 per week, or £12,548 per year. Now, this may vary depending on a few factors, one of which being national insurance contributions. And for more information on this, please visit the government website for more information. The UK pension system is undergoing significant reforms aimed at increasing the state pension, raising the retirement age, and enhancing technology for tracking savings. One such technology is pension dashboards. Pension dashboards will enable individuals to access their pension information online, securely, and all in one place. Dashboards will provide clear and simple information about an individual's multiple pension savings, including their state pension. All pension providers and occupational schemes must be fully connected to the dashboard's ecosystem by October 31st, 2026. Dashboards will show information on both accrued and projected retirement income, alongside provider contact details. Public access dates have not been confirmed, however it is anticipated that the government-backed Money Helper dashboard will launch first, with private sector commercial dashboards more likely to follow later. Following the 2025 autumn budget, the key change to salary sacrifice is a new £2,000 annual cap on pension contributions, effective from the 6th of April 2029. Amounts sacrificed above this threshold will attract both employer and employee national insurance contributions. This measure aims to reduce the government's cost of supporting pension savings. This will impact higher earners, so those that are contributing large amounts through salary sacrifice, for example over £2,000 per year, and they will face higher national insurance contribution costs. Most lower paid workers making typical contributions won't notice a difference. This makes salary sacrifice less attractive for larger pension pots, but still beneficial for smaller amounts. This change in the budget shifts the policy on salary sacrifice for pensions, ending the full national insurance exemption on these contributions above a certain level to raise government revenue, impacting financial planning for retirement. And lastly, pensions advice. The FCA are trying to close the gap in pension advice starting from March 2026. They want consumers to be confident in making decisions about their pensions and retirement. Targeted support will allow firms to provide suggestions designed for groups of consumers with common characteristics to help them make important decisions across their pensions and investments. The framework covers the design, delivery and purpose of targeted support, enabling millions of consumers to receive high quality, meaningful support in a range of circumstances. The support they can give will be regulated and will be subject to legislation. Keep an eye on the FCA website to learn more as more information becomes available. There is pension help and support out there. PensionWise, a service from Money Helper backed by the UK government, offer free impartial guidance to over 50s, though for this advice you must have a defined contribution scheme pension. There's also Age UK, and also the Pension Service for information on your state pension. You can also speak with an independent financial advisor regarding your pensions, but please ensure they are regulated by the FCA to provide advice on pensions. We're now going to have a look at a Lifetime Individual Savings Account, or a LISA. These accounts provide a tax-efficient way to save towards retirement. You must be over 18 and under 40 years old to open one of these accounts. You can put in up to £4,000 each year until you're 50, and this amount counts towards your overall yearly ISA investment limit of £20,000, and you can only have one of these types of ISA accounts at any time. Each year, the UK government will add a 25% bonus to your savings, up to a maximum of £1,000 per year, way beyond any interest rate and offer in any other savings accounts just now. The maximum bonus you could receive is £33,000 if you opened a LISA at age 18 and pay in the maximum amount of £4,000 each year until you're 50. You can withdraw your funds tax-free at the age of 60. However, if you make a withdrawal for anything before the age of 60, you'll pay a charge of 25%, as you won't be entitled to receive the government bonus anymore. Any money you choose to leave in the LISA after age 60 will continue to earn tax-free interest. This account is specifically for those looking to grow their retirement fund, but it can also be used by first-time buyers as a way of boosting the deposit for their first home. If using for a first property purchase, the home you buy must be worth £450,000 or less, and that's for anywhere in the UK. It must be your first home and you must live in it, so not a buy-to-let, and you must use a mortgage. If buying with a partner who is also a first-time buyer, you can both use your own leases. There's no such thing as a joint LISA. One thing to remember is that saving in your LISA could affect your eligibility for benefits. If you decide that a LISA is for you, make sure you check out the different leases available and use a price comparison site to check current interest rates on these accounts and their terms and conditions. These comparison sites could include Money Saving Expert or Which. It's good when using these comparison sites to check a few of them so that you don't miss any good deals. We're now going to discuss estate planning. Not a happy or exciting subject, but very important nonetheless. In Scotland, having a will and power of attorney is essential for maintaining control over your future and protecting your loved ones. Without a will, Scots law dictates how your estate is distributed through prior and legal rights, which may contradict your personal wishes, leading to costly, stressful legal hurdles for survivors. Equally vital is a power of attorney, which grants a trusted person the legal authority to manage your financial affairs and welfare should you lose capacity. Together, these documents ensure your voice is heard, even when you are unable to speak for yourself. It's important for you to make a will whether or not you think you have many belongings, property, or much money. Dying without a will is called dying intestate. If you don't have a will, rules called the rights of succession dictate how your money, property, or belongings are distributed after your death. This may not be the way that you wanted your money and belongings to be distributed. For example, if you're not married or in a civil partnership, your partner won't automatically inherit your money unless you have a will. This applies even if you're living together or have been living together for a long time. Your partner will have to go to court to try and get some of your property and belongings. This can be expensive, tedious, and very stressful, and it can also cause family unrest. Partners who are married or in a civil partnership should make wills too. Making a will means you can decide what to leave your partner and other people when you die. If you have children, you might also want to plan what will happen to them after your death. If they are minors, you might need to note who should be appointed as their guardian in the event of them losing both parents. You will need to make changes to your will if your circumstances change. For example, you divorce, so no longer want your ex-partner to be a beneficiary of your estate. Your pension isn't legally part of your estate, so it's not covered by your will. You have to make arrangements with your pension provider by filling in a form. This might be called an expression of wish or a nomination of beneficiaries form, or something similar. This would also need to be changed in the instance of a divorce. Now, you can do a will yourself. There are websites where you can do it. However, it is best to use a solicitor to make sure your will is legally valid and there are clear instructions for your executors. If you write the will yourself, it's very easy to make mistakes that can cause complex problems after your death. Sorting out misunderstandings and disputes in court can result in legal costs that can reduce the amount of money in the estate, as well as potentially causing issues within a family. Now, solicitors will set their own fees for drawing up a will, and if your will is complex, it might be more expensive. You can check with a few local solicitors to find out how much they charge and compare prices. Some solicitors offer discounts for multiple or mirror wills, and mirror wills have similar terms. So, for example, partners might have mirror wills. You should also check if you can get a free or discounted bill through an insurance policy or a trade union. Some solicitors will also waive their usual fees for drawing up wills at certain times of the year when you donate to a charity. Check Will Aid and Will Relief to find solicitors taking part at various times throughout the year. You could also see if you're entitled to legal aid. Power of attorney is a legal document which lets you plan what you want another person to do for you in the future, should you become incapable of making decisions about your own affairs. A power of attorney is a written document which includes a certificate signed by a solicitor who is registered to practice law in Scotland, by a practising member of the Faculty of Advocates, or by a registered UK medical doctor who holds a licence to practice. There are 3 types of power of attorney. A continuing power of attorney in Scotland is a legal document allowing you to appoint a trusted person to manage your property and financial affairs, which remains in effect even if you lose the mental capacity to do so yourself. It is registered with the Office of the Public Guardian and can start immediately or only upon incapacity. If the power of attorney is only to be used in the event of your incapacity, it must clearly state that the powers are not to be used until this happens. Next, we have a welfare power of attorney, and this is a legal document allowing you to appoint someone to make personal welfare decisions on your behalf if you lose the capacity to do so yourself. Now, this covers matters like care, medical treatment and housing, only becoming active upon incapacity, and again must be registered with the Office of the Public Guardian. Now, the definition of incapable means incapable of acting or making decisions, or communicating decisions, or understanding decisions, or retaining the memory of decisions. And lastly, we have a combined power of attorney, and this covers both continuing and welfare. The majority of power of attorneys registered with the Office of the Public Guardian in Scotland are combined power of attorneys. Most people will use a solicitor. It has to be properly registered. A solicitor or medical doctor also need to interview you and sign a document to say that you understand the decision that you're making, and all has to be registered with the Office of the Public Guardian. There is a fee, but there may be some help available through legal aid in the Office of the Public Guardian, and if you do use a solicitor, there will be their fees on top of that as well. If you don't get a power of attorney and you no longer have capacity, it might mean that your loved ones have to go to court to apply to make decisions on your behalf. This can be pricey and lengthy, as well as very stressful for your loved ones. According to Martin Lewis, the money saving expert, we should all be considering power of attorneys. We don't know if we'll have an illness or an accident which could leave us incapacitated, meaning that loved ones would have to go through the courts to get permissions for medical interventions. That brings us to the end of our session. Thank you for joining us, and please feel free to stay in touch using the contact information on the screen.